Your way to beat the Sunday scaries. My name is Travis. I'll be your host. Today we have some really fun topics in my life that came up over the past week. Just give me a second to find my notes here. I was having technical difficulties right at the start of the show. You never install new software in the last 10, 15 minutes before you're going to start streaming or do anything like that. And my Canon webcam utility decided that that was a good time to install updates because I told it when it restarted it could install updates. So we are a little bit late. Thank you for those of you who are joining live who stuck with me. For everyone else that's seeing this recorded, we were a little bit late, and that's why. So we get our show graphic back up there and open a new window to find our agenda. The main topic, again, for the day is Rocky's update. A lot of you at this point who are probably, if you're watching this live, you know my dog is Rocky, and I am a big fan of Rocky. To tell you a little bit about Rocky, Rocky is a dog. He is roughly 50% Chow, a couple of other breeds in there. Maybe if I get a chance quick here, I can show you a picture of him, or you can search out my online social media and my videos and pictures from the last 3 years. He's been all over the place. Big, beautiful dog, broad shoulders, like dark. He's got like black and brown fur, kind of thick. Really super well behaved, mellow dog. Does not bark much. Is great with all kinds of people, especially kids. Not so great with other little animals. There's a few rabbits in the backyard that he has ended, but he is a dog. That is his thing. No shame, buddy. No judgment. So I got Rocky 3 years ago from the Humane Society. He was 10 years old. He was surrendered by his previous owner. I believe their living situation changed and they couldn't have a dog anymore. And I've since the beginning felt bad, whoever it was, because Rocky is a great dog, and I'd hate to have to give up a dog like Rocky. For me, he was the second rescue dog I got that was about 10 years old. So like 3 years before Rocky, there was a dog, Jazzy, that was a pit mix that I adopted from the Humane Society, another great dog. Highly recommend anybody, if you're looking for a dog's, especially if you're not sure like how long you want to commit to having a dog, or if you don't have time to train a puppy because it is a lot of work. Adopting older dogs is fantastic. I've been very lucky. They've both been very well behaved and good dogs. So that has gone well. And for the past 3 years, Rocky has been a solid, healthy boy. He likes to walk a couple times a week. I take him out. I used to take him out running a little bit. Can't keep up with me, even though he's got twice as many legs. Again, no judgment, Rocky. I'm just saying. So good boy, relatively healthy, likes to walk and run and all that stuff. Late last year, he developed, it almost looked like he had hemorrhoids right by his butt. And it wasn't pretty, but it wasn't necessarily a huge problem. We took him to the vet. By the time we got in and understood what was going on, he had a growth there that had to be removed. Instead of doing a biopsy and testing it and deciding what to do at that point, the growth was something that they could remove and test at the time. And they said it was cancerous, but they didn't think it was like an aggressive type of cancerous. And now, 6 months later, it's redeveloped and it's much more expansive than it used to be. It's messing with his anal gland, so he really, sorry buddy, hate to air your dirty laundry, but it really doesn't smell great right now. And he's kind of messy from it. So this past week, a couple of weeks ago actually, I took him to multiple vets, took him to the regular vet. Their surgeon was leaving. They suggested going to a triage vet somewhere else in the Fox Cities. They basically said, you know, this is problematic. He needs to have this looked at, and because of where it is and the nature of everything, he should see an actual board certified surgeon. So we took him to Blue Pearl Hospital. And Blue Pearl Hospital confirmed, you know, this is troubling because of how quick it came back and how it is To proceed with medical care for Rocky would have required anywhere from $1,250 to $2,500 worth of scans and images and tests to determine how aggressive this is, how much it may be spread throughout his body. Because, you know, you could go surgery alone to deal with what can be seen with the naked eye would be roughly $4,500. And this other testing and imaging may show that he has cancer throughout his body, not necessarily just where we see it. And I don't, like most people, I don't have, unfortunately, don't have like $5,500, $6,000 to spend on a 13-year-old dog to fight what maybe not even is something we've got decent odds of fighting. So we're at a point where it's really about like making sure he's still comfortable and has a decent life, whatever he has left, and we're doing what we can to make the most of that for him and make sure he's safe and happy and comfortable, and just kind of playing it by ear. So this past week, what that means is it had gotten to the point where he could no longer be in the house. Like I was laying down blankets and sheets on the couch, on the floors. Nobody was letting him in the room anymore, and it was just hard to be in here. So Rocky became an outdoor dog. But lucky all of us, my house has a second garage that I don't really use. And over the last couple of months, I went in and it was nasty. Like I moved in 3 years ago. There was some stuff in there from the previous owners that I didn't even deal with. I just threw some of my stuff in there that I didn't want to deal with either. And by the time I'd spent like weeks chipping away at it, getting it all cleaned out, there was like, it seemed like this dirt that was crusted on the floor, but I don't know what it was, but it really stunk in there really bad. But over the course of the last couple of months, I'd gotten it mostly cleaned out. So when I decided it was time for Rocky to go outside, I went out there with like a brush and some soap and water. I hosed it all down, scrubbed it, cleaned it twice, got it ready to go for him. It's still nice enough he can be out there. I'm immediately thinking, how comfortable can I make him? How can I do this for him? So I went on Chewy and I bought a dog house that's insulated. I'm thinking about the winter and the long term and how's he going to get through that and how's he going to get light, and will that also suit him next summer when he's in there? Not really, like, again, I'm thinking this is something we have to change and thinking it may be long term, but not really realizing at the same time that it may not be long term. There's certain things we're watching for. I don't want to get into that too much because I don't want to be a bummer, but I don't know how long Rocky has left. And in the meantime, he's transitioning very well to being an outside dog. There's a bunch of blankets on the floor. I got him a bed that's brand new for out there. Obviously, his food, his water's out there. He's getting treats left and right whenever he wants. He can go in and out of the garage. That dog house that I bought that's insulated, there's a 365-day return policy at Chewy. I'm not going to open it up. I'm not going to set it up right away just in case, because it was a $200 bed. But if it comes down to it, yeah, absolutely. He will have his little dog house inside the garage, and he would be safe through the winter. And it's been hard. Like I've kind of thought for weeks that maybe this should be done, and it's not just like physically like having it smell, but you have to imagine like it's not sanitary, it's not clean, it's not healthy for us to be living in a house with a really sick dog like that. So I think it's good for everyone. What else is new about that? I learned like I'm a big fan of bleach. I like killing viruses and bacteria and stuff like that, but I hate using it like on all the laundry when I do it all the time, even a little bit. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it really bleaches things directly and it gets on it. But I found this, I think it's a Lysol. It's like a sanitizer. You put it in like it's a laundry softener, and it's there's no bleach in it, but it does a good job of killing that extra stuff. So I've been using the heck out of that, and laundry just went off. I can change that when I'm done with this. So that's something else I learned, and it kind of it's sad. I think it's same like Lainey is taking it tough. She hates to see Rocky outside, and so do I. But he barely whines or complains or barks about it. Like if somebody comes home, he'll bark and whine for a little bit, but he gets over it pretty quick. And I go out, I still make sure he gets walked multiple times a day. Got to watch how he's doing in general to make sure I understand where he's at as he maybe gets a little bit more sick. So I know when I need to take care of him. And just give him company. I brush him. I'll go out there and I'll spend like 5 minutes with him petting him. And then, if I stop petting, and pretty soon he just walks away and he does his own thing. And he's happy out there. He's got a pretty good situation. I'm grateful that we have a fence and there's a place that Rocky can be an outside dog and still have some fun. So that's Rocky's update. It kind of dovetails into some other things, I guess, that have been going on. I signed up for some volunteering at work. I'm going through a background check to work with the Boys and Girls Club of America, which I'd worked with before. I did a program called Megabytes where I was training middle school kids how to, one class was programming these little Sphero robot type. It's like a ball and you connect to it with a phone and you can give it instructions to like roll around and flashlights and do all this fun stuff. It's kind of like BB-8. From Star Wars. So I did that, and another one was like other computer programming stuff. But this new thing I'm going to be doing for them is 2 nights a week, and it is the Center for Grieving Families. So if there are children that are part of the program between 3 and 18 that are experiencing some sort of loss in their life, they have a place like twice a month where everyone gets together and you've got a chance to share with like no judgment. I don't know a ton about it. I'm kind of looking forward to it. It doesn't sound like one of those instantly at the time super fun things to do, but it does sound very rewarding and very much like a kind of growth experience. So I'm looking forward to that. And not necessarily grieving yet. I really haven't had to do a lot of dealing with loss in my family. Both of my grandfathers died before I was like 5 or 6 years old. The second one was about 5 years old, and I had all the emotional awareness and intelligence to ask, because this was like 3 days before Christmas or something like that. And my first thought was, are we still going to be opening Christmas presents on Christmas? That's how in tune I was with grief at the time. I was a kid. But my parents are getting older. They're neither of them is like in dire straits like Rocky, but they're like 75 and 71 years old. It's fairly old, and they're running into some challenges keeping up with the house they have. And I had a chance to talk with them earlier this week too about, at what point do you start looking at and planning for going into a nursing home? And that was a weird conversation to have with them. And I kind of thought like they've got some plans there, but at the same time, like it's my business because I want to help take care of them in their specific situation. I was lobbying for them to move into a place like that closer to my home so I could help take care of them. But it was, in the end, it was a good discussion and it was a good thing to talk about. So, grief isn't a fun thing to talk about. The end of life issues like with Rocky and Jazzy aren't fun to talk about, but it's part of life. There's no death, there's no birth. It's a package deal. It's something we'll all have to deal with sooner or later. Hopefully much, much later for everyone involved. So let's go back to our notes here and see if I can figure out what else I want to talk about. I do have notes. So that was story of the week with Rocky. Love the dog. I'm grateful I get a chance to help take care of him right here. Entrepreneurial spirit is next on the list. Last week I talked about exploring Whatnot. I'm selling a bunch of books on there and soon some other kitchen type appliances that my parents have that were excess just to get rid of. And it fits in this all of the above category. I've got a decent paying full-time job. At the same time, I've been fired without fault multiple times in the last 10 years. And it's a reality I think everyone has to be aware of and ready for. And the last time it happened to me, I was interested in switching to being a full-time entrepreneur, doing consulting and content creation and like online influencer stuff, a whole broad category of stuff, which I think is good and healthy to kind of look at it as a buffet, a smorgasbord, try different things, find out what works for you. And in the end, you will likely do multiple of those things at a time, maybe to make it or to get by in the long run. So Whatnot was the latest that I tried. I did some selling on Facebook Marketplace before. I never really got into eBay. Facebook Marketplace, I didn't really like the whole, it was just a pain in the butt. Like I did some things recently, and it like 2 weeks later, it's like, oh, are you still selling this? And I get it. They want to keep it clean, but I don't want to have to go back and keep like marking it as sold. And I think Whatnot's got a little bit of juice right now because it's something different. It is a different way to open a store. I look at Facebook Marketplace, and for me, at least, usage patterns, it was a lot of like local ads. You're going to pick something up. You're going to meet someone in person. I'm not sure how easy that is to do in Whatnot. I think Whatnot from what I understand, seems to be structured more towards things that you're going to sell and mail, which is cool. It opens up a whole new avenue of things. And I had 2 sales this weekend. A lot of what I heard about Whatnot is it's this live streaming and selling, which I did some of, and it was kind of fun to go through all my books and games and talk about them and interact with people, because a few people did show up, and I was able to, like, one of them said, hey, do you have anything like this? But to kind of work it for a little while, I think was good experience, and it was kind of fun. I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do this all the time. I think in the future I'll do more like this show might also be on Whatnot, just to highlight the fact that I have a store there, because it could stream to multiple platforms. But there's also the concept of your store, and your items are there. People can see them and they can find them and they can buy stuff. So it's been like a week and a half since I did a live show. And in the last 3 days, I've sold 3 different books. One package I got mailed out, and the other one I got to mail out tomorrow. And it felt good to see a little bit of money coming back in. For the effort I put in, it felt good. I'm very much aspiring to be more of a minimalist. There's this concept of your possessions owning you, and I want to continue to let the things that I have flow through the community. If I'm no longer using them and I can get money for them, this is a good deal for everyone. So if you're interested in any board games or role-playing books, that's what I have up now. Regular books are coming soon. And also kitchen appliances, all kinds of like things you can get for 10, 15 bucks, toasters, rice cookers, all that kind of thing. I'm the guy to sell to you. So that was, I guess, the deal with entrepreneurial spirit. I'm still looking at some of the other things I wanted to get back to, namely consulting and maybe tutoring or being a mentor around content creation and leveraging my 25 years of experience in technology. Being able to find a way to maybe like, I think the term they use is like a funnel, right? Like give away some free guides and hope that people will sign up for some courses. And if they sign up for the courses and like them, maybe people would hire me to do some level of review of whatever they're doing or tutor them or whatever the case may be, consulting. So I haven't given up on that. I got some new platforms I'm exploring around that I will definitely be sharing in the future. But I think that is enough of entrepreneurial spirit today. The people who bought from me on Whatnot come across this, thank you very much. I appreciate it. That made my weekend to find out that my stuff was selling. So we have a couple of educational topics to discuss. I've said before, I think in 2 things. In school, I think there should be more education around emotional intelligence and social intelligence, things of that nature. Help us learn some of these techniques to go through life with less friction and to get more out of it because of that. And it doesn't always get taught in a structured way in home, and I think it's useful. I think it prevents a lot of problems. Like, I know some people have looked at inner city violence, and there's a lot of different ways to start chipping away at some of those things or any type of interpersonal violence. But they've found also doing some level of training in social intelligence and emotional intelligence, how to handle your initial angry reaction, how to de-escalate things, why you should. Teaching people like that is very effective in terms of helping. And I also think, along with thinking people should learn that. I think people of any age can learn. When I was young, there was this thought that you reached like 30 years old or whatever and you couldn't learn anything anymore. Your brain was set. You weren't growing anymore. So how could you learn? We didn't really understand neuroplasticity as much back then. I mean, obviously people learn things after 30, but the general cultural consensus was you're fully baked by that time, and there's no sense in really putting effort into a lot of learning, and that's kind of been proven wrong. And I think if these things are important and everyone in high school should be taught them, why not try to help other people expand their repertoire of emotional intelligence skills and fun stuff like that? So we're going to do a new segment down here. We're going to try it. This is Lost for Words. It's a game of untranslatable feelings. So I can't remember where I found this. I think I looked it up online, or I may have gotten it at Gnome Games. But anyway, it's a card game, and the game mechanics of it, I'm not really much into. Like, you get all these cards, they'll have a word on them. And like this one is latibule, and it's English. And a latibule is a secret, cozy, and safe hiding place for comfort and peace. So in terms of the game mechanics, there's like a little heart. You probably can't see it, but there's a little heart at the top. There's like 5 different types of cards. What happens is you get 5 cards at the beginning. When it's your turn, you say, oh, latibule, and you share the word with the other people. And then you either relay a story that helps you relate to that word. All these words are like these weird emotional words in different languages. So you tell a story about how you can relate to that word, or what you think about when you think of that word. And then you can lay that card down, and whoever gets one of each of the 5 types of cards down wins. But I think you win just by playing. I've played this twice at a game club where there's mixed people that really don't know each other. And it is a fantastic way to get to know people, because it's about emotions, right? These are all emotion words, and they're often mixed emotion words, like joy and sorrow at the same time. I don't know if that one is here or not, but so the core of it is it's an emotion, and stories are about emotion. They're not necessarily about facts and stuff like that. Stories, real good stories, are about emotion, and it gives you a chance to talk, a prompt to help talk about something in your life that has emotion. So it really like sets the playing field for people to tell stories about themselves instead of just relating facts. So it's really fun, and people love to talk about themselves. It's interesting to get in conversations when you're done. Sometimes we like, if I read the word and I don't have a story, I'll just have a couple of questions about it. Like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And it spurs like really good conversation around the table. And both times I've played it, it's totally fun. So I thought it might be fun to try this, where each week we do this. Maybe we do a different card. So it seemed really easy when I was playing it with the group, and then I thought I should have a card ready in advance for this. But now that I'm here, and I'm like, no, I'll pick a random card, just whatever card. We'll make it live. It's fun. I also thought maybe I reveal the card before the show, like a couple days before the show, and give people a chance to maybe send me stories about the word or thoughts they have about the word of the week that I can share on here. So next week, keep your eyes open. We're going to try that, because right now I am Termanggu Manggu, which is Indonesian. Oh, come on now. Where'd that go? Get that back up for you. Termanggu Manggu, and it's not going to focus here. Tormanggu Manggu is Indonesian for stunned and confused. So now that I sit here with all these cards and I pick the first one, I'm like, oh, what can I say about that? What story do I have about that? I was somewhat stunned and confused when we were doing this as part of the game face-to-face people. It flowed a little quicker, and there wasn't also the whole concept of managing a live show. So trying to do all of it at once made me very termangu, stunned and confused about what is going on. And I think how do I deal with being stunned and confused? I think the best thing, like when I'm stunned and confused, I think a lot of the times it's either like a new situation or some great revelation or just too much at once. And I think I just try to reboot, like, okay, let's stop. Like, I'm stunned, I'm confused. There is this swirl of thoughts all up in my head, and I'm not sure what to do with anything. I just try to set everything down and do like a baseline reset, like what's really important right now, what is in the room with me, what's going on, what do I have to do to deal with it, and keep things kind of moving that way, taking a step back. And as you're doing that, what is going on around me, it's not just staying in your own head and what is going on around me. I see a camera, I see a laptop screen, I see a monitor, I got this mic in front of me. Also, like taking that step back to get perspective of what is going on. If I was looking at this from the outside, what is going on in this situation, that maybe while I'm stunned and confused and stuck in my own perspective, like laser focus on something, break frame and think about what does this look like to other people. And like, I think, what does this look like to the people on the other side of that camera right there? They don't see any of that stuff. They don't know how I'm feeling inside about it. They only know what I tell them and what I show them. And this is what we're here for. And we're here to have fun. And that slight bit of termangu isn't going to slow us down, is it? This is adulting. We must go forward at all costs. So that is the Lost for Words word for the day, termangu. It's good stuff, huh? It's a fun game. It's a fun game. I look forward to doing this in the future and seeing what everybody else comes up with for their stories or questions about a concept or has feedback. When you have termangu, if you're out there in the comments and I'm completely ignoring you, because I am, and I wasn't on Facebook at all, and that's too bad. I can post it later. YouTube, it looks like they've got some issues. Let me just make sure that's live. Learning as we go here. I need to do a double check after I go live to make sure everything is working. I need to put my phone on silence or do not disturb, which it is. And pardon me while we take a studio break to make sure we're going. And yes, I am live on YouTube. Thank you very much, YouTube. It's good to see you out there. And Facebook, am I live or not? Restream. I am streaming on Facebook. Hey, what's up, Facebook? Sorry that you are just getting on board here. Later, you can always check out what has been going on YouTube. We delivered Rocky's story, an update on that, and we also discussed Lost for Words as a concept for future shows. This is an excellent game of untranslatable feelings. I think someone was inspired by Schadenfreude, which is happiness at somebody else's pain, something like that. And they found a whole bunch of similar words. They made a game out of it, and there's cards with tons of fun words in here. Every week we're going to be going through them and talking about whatever untranslatable feelings we may have had and how we dealt with it. And we will be posting these ahead of the stream to allow people a chance to submit their own stories about whatever the feeling is of the week. And we will just go ahead and do that now in case anyone is listening. Next week's word is Hebrew, and it is Firgun, Firgun. And Firgun is feeling pride and joy for another's success. Feeling pride and joy for another's success is Firgun, and that is a very cool thing to do. So that will be our next word for next Sunday. If you've ever felt pride and joy for someone else's success and you want to talk about it, this is the place to do it. Let me just see if I can there we go. Get our graphic back up here. And stay there. All right. So those are the first sections of our show. Next up, we are going to rap a little bit about... Make sure this is working here. The next bit of rap we have is our compassion starter kit. So, love and compassion are all good things. The English language is pretty limited. Love means so much and so many different things to different people, and there's a lot that gets mixed up with it. A lot of other languages and cultures have multiple words for love. I think we do as well. We just call it different things. But kind of a precursor to it, or what I would consider real love, does have compassion in it, like caring for other people. It's something we lose when we're not as connected to people, and we're kind of missing a lot of that in society right now. And one of the coolest things I learned about compassion was how good it feels to have compassion. No, I'm not telling you need to be a sap and, pure compassion for everybody all the time and let people walk on you. Don't get it twisted. It ain't like that. You can have compassion for someone, but still not try and bail them out of a situation they started. You can have compassion for someone, but still not necessarily want to invite them into sharing your life. But compassion is a good thing. I think it's something all of us want to a certain extent. It could be a precursor to respect and all these other good things. So when I was first learning about Buddhism, one of the ways I was taught that you develop more compassion is you start with yourself, because you are around yourself all the time. It is good to treat yourself with compassion. There is in therapies, there's this concept called, what is it, family systems? Somebody else out there is like, yep, that's what it is, family systems theory. So, is that it? Anyway, I don't want to get too bogged down into the concept, but basically it's, and some of this is in Buddhism too, like Thich Nhat Hanh always says, like, when you're angry at something, like you don't get angry at yourself for getting angry. Don't get disappointed in yourself for getting angry. See that anger as just a part of you, like it is a child inside of you, or a seed of anger that's in you. It isn't you that's angry. There's anger in you. And the first thing you need to do, instead of, again, having these negative emotions about the anger, is to accept them. Like, okay, this is here. Like, my brain wants me to be angry. It must be trying to protect me from something, and have compassion for yourself for going through this and for that seed of anger inside you. So you literally in your head would say, like, I'm here for you, anger, and I have compassion for you. Like, I understand maybe you had your lunch money stolen all the time when you were a kid, and now somebody here cut in front of you in line at the fast food joint, and you're pissed. And you want to be angry, and you don't, like, climb on to the back of that anger and ride it wherever it wants to go. You don't get mad at yourself for getting angry, because that's just counterproductive. You have compassion for yourself and say, hey, I get it. Like, I'm here to take care of you. And that distances you from that negative emotion, so it's less likely to control your reaction, and it puts you in a mode of I care for things, and that just naturally is going to reflect back on you, that you're going to feel like things in the world cares for you because you're putting it out there, and when the world feels that, it's going to put it back on you. So in this journey of expanding compassion, the first place you always start is with yourself, especially when you have judgmental, critical, or negative thoughts or feelings about yourself. You lean in first with compassion and say, hey, I love you, man. I love you. I'm here with you. I've been with you your whole life. I'll be with you through your whole life. And you have compassion for yourself. You'll find quickly that that is very, very good in terms of helping you transition away from negative feelings towards positive ones and deal. Ultimately, that doesn't say that you ignore whatever it is that made you angry. If you need to deal with it, you still need to deal with it. Dealing with it by using your anger probably isn't going to be your best bet. So it allows you to move into a different way of saying, instead of arguing back at this person that I used to be friends with and continuing to argue with them, I'm just going to cut them off and say, I can't deal with this right now. I don't need this in my life. This is a better way for me to deal with this. And that is having compassion for yourself. And you can't choose that response if you lash out at anger with anger. And it frankly has compassion for them too, because then they're not caught up in a situation that is negative and full of drama. So from having compassion for yourself, what you do is you move on to having compassion for family, for loved ones, for people that it's easy to have compassion with or for, right? You go there, and that's easy. And it can start just in your head, or it can be verbal. It could be actual acts of service. There's a bunch of different ways to go about it. But you move on to your family. And if it is hard, again, you just do it in your head. Just you're looking at them and you're thinking, I have compassion for them. Look, everybody's been through some stuff, right? Everybody has had some suffering. Everybody has hopes that aren't going to be fulfilled. They've got dreams that aren't going to come true. They've got like lots of good stuff too, hopefully. But everybody has gone through some level of suffering. Nobody's had a perfect upbringing and circumstances, so you can use that as a basis to build that compassion for other people on. Again, you're not sacrificing yourself for them, but you're interjecting some of this compassion and hopefully finding a better way to deal with all these problems. And from there, you just keep growing the circle larger and larger to the point where you could be in the mall just seeing random people and practicing, like literally, like not just, if you think about it, but like, I'm going to go out today and I'm going to practice compassion on strangers. I'm just going to look at them and imagine like what they might be dealing with, and eventually and thinking good thoughts and sending good energy to them. And you're going to feel it. You're going to feel benefits from it. And they will eventually. And eventually it may turn into actual acts of compassion or just saying something nice to somebody in public. But it's a bridge towards getting to a more human condition between people when we're so isolated and disconnected these days. Sometimes it could be hard, especially if you're younger. And like, I grew up in a different era where some of that was more common and there were more public places and we weren't glued to our phones all day long and computers and stuff like that. So you're more used to dealing with people. But if you can, maybe some people that are younger have had less positive experiences, and maybe it's a matter of, you're more afraid, and it's not like feeling like compassion is part of the answer, but I think it is too. Like, it can help you get to a spot where you realize that, maybe there isn't as much reason to be afraid. Maybe like you just need to get used to it. Maybe part of it is you need to develop compassion for yourself, for if you're struggling to have a human connection with other people, and realize other people are in that same spot. And if you say the thing to the cashier at the checkout line, maybe you make their day, and maybe that makes your day. And maybe you do that consistently, and then you're the kind of person that makes somebody's day. And you know what? Doesn't that make your day? To be that dude, that person, that guy that makes other people's day. So that's my pitch for compassion, and it being something that we extend to ourselves and other people, so that we all benefit from it. And it's easier to get started than you think. It just starts with a frame of mind, and starting by extending compassion to yourself, getting used to practicing how to grow that muscle, and then use it on other people. Compassion. The word of the day. Not compersion. That is something different. That is happiness at other people's happiness. You're happy for somebody else that they're happy. Alrighty then, let's just check chat. See what's going on out there, everybody. I hope you all had a good day. The Packers unfortunately lost. They had the lead most of the game, found a way to lose it. I think the parts that I watched in the first half, they even got a lot of love from the Browns. They got a lot of penalties on third downs to keep drives alive, but the Browns found a way to duke it out in a defensive battle at the end. What I saw was a decent game. It was kind of sad to see him lose, but whatever. There's a lot of other heartbreak out there. Here the Jets lost one real close, like 27-29. The more I learn about the Jets, the more I am kind of a fan. Their fans have gone through now for a while what the Packer fans did for decades when the Packers won some of the early Super Bowls, and then they sucked pretty bad, like most of my youth, through the 70s and 80s, and like up until the early to mid 90s, they started to get good again, and then they've been good for a long time, so I'm blessed. But the Packers have been through that too. It's tough. Props to the real fans that root for the home teams, no matter if they win or lose. It's hard, but I'm very much a homer when it comes to sports. Not like the irrational belief in their awesomeness or ultimate success, but more like I'm rooting for the home team. If I'm going to watch sports, if I'm going to root for a team, it's going to be the Packers, the Brewers, the Bucks, the Badgers, anything from the state of Wisconsin. On Wisconsin. On Wisconsin. All right, thanks. So, next from chat, this one is entitled Done Dating. I didn't write this. I'm a divorced 46-year-old dad. I did the dating app thing for about a year. I met some cool people, but I realized recently, after a lot of dates and opportunities to sleep with women, that I passed up every single one. I realized after a lot of these dates that I don't want to be in a relationship with anyone. I don't want to sleep with anyone. I want to be there for my kids. I want to take my dog for walks. I want to work on art projects late into the night and not feel bad about it. I'm happy for the first time in a long time being with myself. I had to turn a number of women down. The refrain was always the same. You're not emotionally ready to share your life. It's true. I'm happy about it. My life is better for that, at least for now. Sometimes I worry that I'll regret. But honestly, I don't see an alternative. My parents are getting old. They need me around to take care of them. I'm a teacher, and I like my job. My 2 kids are 9 and 11, and they need me present. I'm an artist by trade and like my me time. I'm cooked. Oh well. Done dating from Reddit. Thank you, Done Dating, for sharing your story. You're not cooked, and I don't think he's really saying he's cooked forever. He says he's happy with where he's at, and his life is better for that, at least for now. And I can relate. So I was married for 13 years. I got a divorce in 2015. Around the time the divorce was final, I dated a little bit. I went on 3 different dates through dating apps. I think all 3 of them wanted second dates, but the first 2 I really didn't want a second date. And it was hard for me to tell them that a little bit because I was a little bit too squishy. And the third one I was interested in seeing again. And we got to the end of our date and we spent 10 minutes looking at our calendars trying to find anything that worked. I was in my early 40s. I had 3 children. The oldest was like 13 and the youngest was like 5. I had a full-time job. I was going to be taking care of a home by myself. I was volunteering as a Cub Scout den leader and as a youth competitive soccer coach, aligned with the days I had my children 50% of the time And all this volunteering was the days that I did not have my children. So really, I had them more than 50% of the time. I was blessed to have that chance. And that's why I sat there for 10 minutes with this woman trying to figure something out. And we both realized, like, this isn't it. This isn't going to work. It should be easier than this. And I set it down as much as I knew I wanted to be in a good relationship. I realized that, man, I was just starting to get my life back together after being married for 13 years. I knew I wanted to get myself in shape. I wasn't in shape. I knew, like, financially I had some bridges to repair, some damage that happened during the having to give away half of my 401k in the divorce. I just really had my own thing to work on at the time, and I stopped. And I didn't date. I didn't approach people. I wasn't on the dating apps. And I was that way for like 5 or 6 years. And a lot of times, like, it's not that I didn't care at all and I wasn't interested in it, but I just I really was, in fact, interested in that part of life, but I wasn't a priority for me. And I was making a choice. And sometimes we make choices as adults. You all know, you make choices that aren't, you wish you could have a different choice where you could get everything and a glass of water for free and easy and forever, but life ain't that way, and you got to have priorities. And I made it my priority to be a dad, do the volunteering stuff, and deal with my life. And I didn't really regret it at all. I still don't. By the time I decided I wanted out of that, COVID hit, and then it was like, well, this kind of cramps my style. And then by the time COVID was done, I had been single for like 7-8 years, and it was awkward to get back out there again. Like, the dating apps are not, like, I had some success on the dating apps. They're a lot easier. You have a lot more opportunities as a woman on dating apps than men do. I should say, I wouldn't say it's easier, because I know women have to deal with a lot of as well that men don't have to deal with. But the dating apps weren't that much fun. I approached a ton of people in person. It was harder because it's just harder. You don't know who's taken or how old people are. That's what's nice about dating apps. You kind of do some of that pre-qualifying right away. You get it out of the way. You don't, like, accidentally approach someone that's 20 years younger than you. Like, I didn't really realize that I need glasses. I couldn't see from 50 feet away. So I think it's good, like, the whole concept of being happy about being yourself by yourself. You will not be in a positive, good, healthy relationship if you can't be happy by yourself. If you have to be in the relationship and you can't be happy by yourself, it's just not going to work. It's not going to be good for you. I know in my marriage, that was one of our issues, is we spent way too much time together. We didn't maintain enough of our friendships to carry us through socially. We relied on each other too much to fill too many needs. And it was just problematic. And it can be really hard to be in that middle portion of life, like done dating is, and like I was. And, like, you know, you've got opportunities, you've got things going on. It's hard. You can't have it all, and you got to choose. And if it's your choice to not do it for a long time, that's fine. Then do that. I'm 50 years old now. I started dating someone earlier this year. I met him after the beginning of the year, and we've been dating most of the year since then. And it's great. It's fun. I don't regret, like, at the time, like, sometimes I wish I had someone to hang out with on a Saturday night, and it got kind of lonely or whatnot, but I don't regret my choices at all. And, like, life is so long. If you are investing in yourself and taking care of yourself, doing the right thing for yourself, and your life changes and your kids are soon to be out of the house, or they're teenagers even, you might be more interested in dating again, and be open to that too. It's not, not for everyone, but you can always change your mind, and you just have to know what season you're at in life. I think if anyone is out there and they're interested in getting back into it, especially men, I would almost avoid dating apps, maybe as like a secondary, hey, we'll keep plugging away there, but you really need to learn how to approach people, like, frequently in public and get comfortable with it. And it was odd for me because I had been single again for like 7 or 8 years, and I had been married for 13 years before that. So I wasn't really used to, like, the cold introduction or trying to do all the things. But the good news is that what we have today is called the internet, and you can go on YouTube and places like that, and you can find out, you can get coaching on how to do this sort of thing. Now, I'm not suggesting you go to people teaching you this, how to be a scam artist, how to be a player, there's a lot of like dark psychology, like BS out there. That's not what I'm talking about. There is a lot of stuff that's very straightforward, though. That's like, hey, this is how it is. This is how the market for attention works and stuff like that. And you can get good advice if you keep looking for it. And there's like 3 or 4 accounts. If anyone is really interested and wants to know, hit me up online, and I can suggest a few accounts on YouTube that help teach me some things about how to approach people. In the end, that whole time when I was getting back into dating, there was one person that I met through Tinder. There was one person I met through Facebook dating that I already knew from high school. And the other people that I dated were all people, well, no, there was 2 from Tinder. But there was also like 3 people that I met in person. And a bunch of other, well, more than that. But there was more people that I dated that I met in person. But the only other like relationships I had were people that I met in person. And it really is the way to go about it. I think the key there is just, that's going to happen in the context of you being you, right? So you're single, you're getting involved in your hobbies, you're getting into art, you got your art stuff, you're going to be at an art show someday, and you're going to see someone and you're going to approach them, or they're going to say something to you, and that's probably where you're likely to find a good match. Like, I don't drink, so going out to the bars would not be a good idea. I wake up at 5 in the morning and run, so like I don't want somebody that wants to go to the bars all the time. But the 2 people that I met in person that I dated, both of them were through volunteering opportunities that I was involved in, which made it very easy to be like, hey, we've got something in common. We both believe in X enough to put our time into it. And that really, the type of ability to approach someone and get comfortable with it, and doing that all over the place. And for me, a lot of it was places like the grocery store and the gym, because there's 2 places that I went. Neither of them are ideal in some regards, but it works. And you end up seeing a lot of different people. But the skills I learned there made it possible for me to make the most of those opportunities to meet people in those contexts where I was doing my own thing. So done dating. Congratulations on knowing what you want. If that's not what you want someday, given what I can tell about your question, you're going to be A-okay. You're going to be just fine. What else do we have today? Anyone out there in chat land? I guess I haven't checked. I got to keep an eye on that. Nope. Back to the scripts. So actually that was it. We burned through the whole show in a little under an hour. It covered all the topics. So just in closing here, I do have another podcast that I want to hype a little bit. It's called Critical Culture. This 21st century adulting, I want to keep it fun and or entertainment and education all mixed together in one. But I am going to stick away from topics like politics or religion or all those sorts of angry partisan things. I definitely speak about that in my podcast, Critical Culture. I encourage you to check it out. This show will remain something that should be free from any talk like that. One of the shows I did for Critical Culture talked about identity politics and politics as identity. And I think as much as we need to discuss policy and things of that nature on a regular basis and in public, there's also a need for time and space for us to get together and just be human beings, just be adults and leave all the politics at the door. It doesn't have to be our whole identity. That's harder for some than others, but for me, I enjoy the privilege of being able to do that, and I want 21st century adulting to remain the place to be for that sort of stuff. As always, comment, remix, like, subscribe, give me some feedback if you've seen that, something you like, something you don't like. I'm going to keep doing this. I know that some people enjoy it. I know more people enjoy it if I get feedback and know what you're interested in, what works for you, what I could maybe be doing better. I don't have a production crew, it's just me. So if you've got any feedback, I would love to hear it. A couple of other things going on. I'm working on potentially another show specifically that's about content creation. C4 might be the title. I'm not sure what it is, but that would be a different live stream in the middle of the week. I very much have now adopted the title of creator or content creator. I went to San Francisco a couple of years ago, and someone that works at YouTube took my picture for me because I asked them to, and they asked if I was a creator, and I kind of waffled like, I didn't see myself as rising up to that title, but now in retrospect, absolutely I am. I have been for a long time. I do written word and pictures and illustrations and Photoshop stuff and videos, and I've done it all. I'm a creator. I've got a variety of skills. I'm getting into the whole creator economy, looking at user-generated content, promotions, monetizing, lots of different tools and techniques, keeping track of, like, YouTube had a whole bunch of announcements this past week at an event. So this other streaming show that I'm trying to launch this week will be more about content creation. I thought about doing that as part of this, but I think I've got enough content and they vary enough that they should be totally separate streams. So those are my three primary ways that I'm trying to interact now. Obviously still going to do the social media stuff, but 21st Century Adulting, which flagship is this office hours, Escape from the Sunday Scaries on Sunday nights. The content creation one will be midweek, a little bit shorter, maybe 6 to 7 or something like that. Critical Culture is just a podcast. It's not going to be live. I got to take a little bit more time and how I want to put more time into how I do that. And there'll be other things around those topics as well. But if you've made it this far, thanks for listening and or watching. I hope you had a great week. I hope you have a great week ahead of you, and we will see you next Sunday. Thanks for listening. Cut. I said cut. How do I stop this? Oh.